What have I done? My nails broke in a fight with husband over my stupid mistake doing one night stand. Hi Redditors, I am Diane and I am 28 years old. I want to tell you about how my husband broke my nails in a fight after finding out about my one night stand. This happened yesterday, and now I am in so much pain, physically and psychologically. I'm happily married with my husband, William, and together we have 2 little kids, twins, but now I have made my sweet home so bitter. I really messed up this time, but I guessed old habits die hard, as they say. Please read till the end because my story will make you cringe and weird. My life has not been all roses and sweets. My dad was a drunk who came home regularly and fought with Mom. At first, my mom was a very submissive kind of woman and ignored him every single time. But it got worse every day, and one day he resorted into laying his hands on her. But before it could get even worse, my mom decided to leave him. My dad was always not like that, though. He became like that when he lost his job to his most hated rival. He worked in an advertising company, and he had always been the best at coming up with cool ideas for commercials. But then a new employee came in. Nathan and he started overshadowing my dad. Apparently, the new guy was also very brilliant and came up with new and brilliant ideas. As time went by, he became the star and even was better than my dad. My dad could not take it anymore and decided to take charge of a new company's commercial. And it was kind of tough because they had to convince the company first and his job was at stake here. Unfortunately, he lost to Nathan. He became depressed over that and started drinking and gambling all the time, which was what caused my mom to leave him before he became violent and they had to divorce. Dad left Mom with the house, but it wasn't like it would make things better. Life was not all so good after that time, as my mom had to work a lot of jobs to make ends meet. She later lost the jobs due to her inexperience, and she resorted to bad jobs, bringing different guys home as her new husband every time, even though I knew that was not the case. This went on for a few months until she made a lot for us to move into a much bigger house. And she then told me that she wanted to get married again, and she did. By the way, I am an only child. When she remarried, she became distant towards me and concentrated on her husband, and when she gave birth to my half-brother, it became worse. I decided to just ignore the whole drama and concentrated on my studies, as that was my only escape, and I later ended up getting a scholarship to a university. I was so happy about this and went to tell her immediately, but she did not even react and just ignored me as I conveyed the news to her. She literally didn't even act like she was going to miss me at all when I was leaving, and my stepdad was even worse. I decided to leave quietly, and that is what I ended up doing. At least I left all the drama behind. Anyways, school life was kind of hard though, but I did not feel it much because I had a wonderful roommate that I had been texting with online through our school group before leaving home, and I stayed with her all through my years in school. My roommate's name is Anna, and she was a wonderful friend. We spent our free time together, and she was also a very nice and smart person. I felt so happy that I was treated nicely after the way my mom treated me. Anna bought me a lot of gifts, and it made me even more happy. She instantly became my best friend. All this time, my mom or her husband didn't even bother to reach out to me, not even once. Of course, I was so heartbroken about this because I thought she would try to even reach out to me, but she did not. I took that away from my mind and lived as though I never had any parents because that was almost the case. I started to participate in activities that would make my mind drift away from it. As time went on, I began to suspect my best friend because she began to disappear at midnight more often. I thought she was going to the library, but when I checked and she was not there, that was when I began to suspect her even more. I then decided to follow her one day and saw that she went to the club. I was so dumbfounded and just went to my room like nothing happened. She came home later and acted like nothing had happened, and I was so angry at this, and I decided to confront her. When I did, she didn't react as if something unusual happened and even said that she had been waiting for me to confront her for years, and she worked as a stripper in a club. I put 2 and 2 together, and I figured that was why she has so much money. I was both perplexed and dumbfounded, but she asked me to join her, and I could make lots of money doing that. I was angry at what she said, and she asked me to ponder on it. I was so angry that I planned on leaving her, but the thought of where to go and how to survive got the best of me, and I ended up agreeing to Anna's request. Just like that, I started working as a stripper too, and I was making great cash. This went on for a while, and I later graduated with flying colors. I was so happy because I was done with school. I got an apartment close to the bar I was working at and continued to work there. I lost contact with Anna after the graduation, and I decided not to look for her. But I was enjoying working at the bar because of the money, but soon they had to close up due to some personal problems. I was so sad because I wouldn't be making as much cash as before, but I had no choice. I left the job and stayed at home, but after a while I started to run out of money and was in dire need of financial aid. During this time, I coincidentally met Anna again. It's a small world we live in. I was out grocery shopping when I saw her getting down from a luxurious car. I was so in pain and jealous of her. She also spotted me and she started to talk to me. She asked how I was doing, and because I didn't want her to know about my financial problems, I decided to act like everything was all right. Luckily for me, I was looking good enough, so she bought my charade. When she asked why I didn't bring any vehicle, I lied to her that it broke down on the way and needed repair. So I asked the repairman to come pick it up. She bought the lie and left me. I felt so relieved, but at the same time, it made me feel the need to be financially dependent, and so I decided to work towards getting more money. After so much thought, I decided to go with the illegal means. I met with different matured men old enough to be my father, and started going out with them while they took care of my financial needs. I started making it big, and surely I was back to being the rich girl again, and I was enjoying every bit of it. Life was going great. I got so rich, and I was able to afford a new, big, and luxurious car. I go on shopping sprees every single time, and I felt that all was finally perfect. At this time, I did not think about going into a relationship with anyone until I met William. I was on a shopping spree when I met him. On that day, I was enjoying my shopping and did not know that someone had slipped an item into my bag, intending to implicate me as she was almost caught stealing herself. So she decided to put the blame on me, and William had seen this from afar. Apparently, he actually came in search of a shoplifter, since the lady in question had actually been doing this for a very long time. He explained that he was a cop and had been tracking her for a long time. Since there had been reports about her, he took her away and gave me his number, in case I needed protection, since he found me fragile. I felt so happy, and it was love at first sight. We started meeting more often as friends. He was nice and fun to be with, and he taught me a lot of good things. He taught me how to be a better version of me, although I still continued with what I was doing on the side, and I felt like I was betraying William. But I did not mind, though, because I was making cool cash. One day, William called me and told me that he had a surprise for me. I was hoping that he was going to propose to me, but that was not the case. He instead wanted to give me something and told me that he wanted me to be his girlfriend and told me how much he liked me. I was over the moon when he said that. Our love story began from then on. I decided to let go of my crazy life for him, and I told him about my job. Although he knew about it, he did not judge me and made me promise that I would not go back to that life again. I accepted, and we started dating. He was a very nice lover and also very caring. He also prioritized me even over his job. A few months into our relationship, he took me to meet his parents and siblings, and they were all so nice and accommodating towards me. His family treated me like their own, and this gesture touched my heart. I was so happy that I would finally get everything that I wanted. I was so happy and excited that I would end up having a good and fulfilling life, finally. Soon after, he proposed to me in one of the most romantic ways possible, and I was so happy. When he popped the question, I didn't even think twice before saying yes to spending the rest of my life with him. We started the preparation, and I didn't bother telling my mom about it. She never got in touch with me anyways, so I lied and told William that I did not have any family whatsoever, and he took my word for it. We both went for dress fittings, a lot of spa sessions, reception hunting, and all that. 3 months passed, and it was our wedding day. I woke up feeling like the happiest human on earth. I literally started jumping up and down the whole house, feeling so happy. William's sister Claire was my bridesmaid since I had lied that I had no family. She was the one taking care of my bridal needs, and she was the most wonderful lady I ever met. She watched me dance for like 1 minute straight, and she dragged me into the bathroom. When I took my bath and came out, she started dressing me up. Claire did my makeup, and I wore my big but light blue ombre wedding dress adorned with a tiara hand made for me by Claire. After I was done with that, she sprayed perfume all over me, and we set out to the reception. Claire walked me down the aisle to meet William, who was looking dashing in his blue suit. He stared at me so lovingly and whispered sweet words into my ear when I got to him. We said our vows and we were pronounced husband and wife. After partying, we went home, and the next day we went for our honeymoon. It was one of the most beautiful experiences I ever had. We went abroad and I enjoyed myself so much and had so much fun. We traveled from one country to the other, including Mexico and India, but it was cut short though when he was suddenly called that he had to be on a case, and since he was one of the most gallant and smart cops they had no choice but to contact him. I was sad, but it was okay, it was his job anyways. We went home and he started working on the case, which was settled so fast. 2 months after our wedding, I became pregnant with twins. We were both happy that we were going to be parents, and I was elated that I was finally going to be a mother. My husband started treating me like a queen afterwards. He bought me my cravings, bought me a lot of gifts, did whatever I wanted, and even cooked for me most times. It felt so great. We went for the sonogram of my pregnancy, and we were so happy when we were told that we were expecting twins. Our joy knew no bounds. He started following me everywhere, including the antenatal sessions. I was so happy that I had someone like William by my side. On the day of my delivery, William was not around, and I was alone at home. I felt an excruciating pain in my stomach, and I thought that it was just my babies kicking. I never knew it was labor pain when the pain became unbearable. I called William, but he did not pick up, so I called 911, and almost immediately, they arrived and they had to break the door to get in, because at this stage, I was so weak. The last thing I remembered was seeing the face of a young lady telling me that I would be fine. Then I blacked out. When I finally woke up, I saw William and Claire each holding a baby lovingly and smiling at me. I had a boy and a girl. I smiled back and they both moved close to me so that I could see my babies. They were so cute and had their dad's blue eyes while they had my blonde hair. I could not contain my joy when I saw my babies. I had a cesarean section, so I had to stay in the hospital for a while for further observations as I had little complications during the operation. I was later discharged after what felt like years, and we got home safe and sound. We named our kids, Ronnie and Rita. I had to visit the hospital from time to monitor my recovery. During this time, William had to take an official leave so that he could stay at home and take care of me. The children grew up so fast, and soon it was their first birthday. William celebrated it in a big way. We had 2 cakes, and it was fun because we had a lot of guests, including his family. I had fun that day, and this is where the whole story gets weird. I met one of William's friends, Zach, who had been away from the country and just came back recently, and he was so cute. I don't know why, but I felt like talking to him, and he seemed to notice me too. After the party, he stayed behind, and he secretly collected my number, and he immediately started talking to me. He told me I looked hot even though I had given birth, and I felt so flattered, and I don't know how and why, but his words made me feel some kind of way. He was charming, and he invited me to lunch the next day. The next day came, and I dolled myself up like I was going to a party. My husband was at work, and I dropped my kids at the kindergarten, so I had time for myself. I got there, and Zach was already there. He stared at me until I got to where he was, and like a gentleman, he pulled the seat out so that I could sit down. This gesture made me even more delighted and in love. I got the menu and went for something light. He complimented me throughout our meal together. After that time, we secretly started seeing each other and spending time with each other, enjoying each other's company and sleeping with each other. Zach was undeniably more handsome than my husband. He also had blue eyes, just like William. He had blonde hair, which went well with his blue eyes and white skin. He was taller and had a bigger and more defined body than my husband, and this was a turn-on for me. We went on with our relationship for about 6 months without a hitch, and Zach was such a good lover. Not only that, he was also good in bed. We slept with each other almost every time, and it became a routine. I sneaked out every day and told William that I was going shopping so I would have time to see Zach. But things changed when Zach said he was leaving. He told me that he had to go back abroad and get married to his longtime girlfriend. I was heartbroken and thought to myself that I was used and felt betrayed. He told me that I was just a fling to pass time with, as his girlfriend never allowed him to. So he traveled back here so that he could have some fun, and I came to him so I was his prey, and a perfect one too. These words pierced my heart and hurt me a lot, but I did not let it get to me. When he left, I felt so lonely, coupled with the fact that William is always not around because of work. I then reverted back to my old ways. I started to yearn for touch. I wanted to be in bed with another man apart from my husband, and this was in my head. Although my husband later started to have my time and started to satisfy me sexually, I still started hunting for more men and more fun. Luckily for me, William's mother wanted us to have a romantic time, so she took the kids to Disneyland without us. Little did they know that this benefited me more. When they left with our kids, my husband felt happy, and indeed we had a lot of romantic times. But I wanted more. So on the days William had night shifts, I go to clubs and hook up with random men, and mostly one-night stands. I guess William started getting suspicious at one point, because he started to come home at random times and almost caught me not being at home. Most times, I lied that I was out shopping, so I decided to ask my affairs to come to my home, and this went fine until this particular day. William went out on an emergency operation, leaving me unsatisfied, so I decided to invite my newest affair home. He came home and I got down to business with him immediately, and this turned out to be a bad idea. Apparently, William had set up a camera because he suspected me. I never knew about this and went on with my business like nothing happened. But the next day, William shouted my name angrily while pacing up and down the parlor. I was scared, and something in me told me that I was in trouble, and I was right. He showed me the recorded clip at my one-night stand the previous day and screamed at me, calling me an ungrateful person. I tried snatching the phone from him with the intention of breaking it, but this was a very bad idea. During the struggle, William dragged my fixed nail and broke two of it, which affected my real nails. Even though I was bleeding, William just left me wailing on the floor while he went inside. I'm really hurt right now. I don't know what to do because I'm in a huge mess. Comments: Reddit user 1. I really can't believe this. You deserve more than a broken nail, Diane. You really do. William did a lot for you and even ignored your past to make you feel normal. Now see what you paid him back with. Reddit user 2. Honestly speaking, Diane, you shouldn't have done this. William deserves more than this, and you are so silly for doing this. Reddit user 3. You monster. The fact that you even fell for and complimented another man other than your husband was so silly. How could you do that? Reddit user 4. The fact that you felt heartbroken when another man other than your husband left is so unbelievable. I mean, you can't even confidently define your relationship with him. Anyways, you deserve the broken nail and much more, witch. Update. When he left me, he went to call his parents to bring the kids back. I know this because his parents called me. I also got a call from his lawyer for divorce. I had my nails treated, but I was told that it would take a long time to heal since the injury was deep. William gave me the divorce letter when I got home and told me to sign. I hesitated, begging and pleading for him to forgive me. I cried so much, but he didn't even flinch. He told me to tell him if I had made him suffer in any way, and I nodded no, feeling ashamed. He also asked if he didn't satisfy me well enough in bed, and I replied no. He then asked in the harshest tone I have ever heard why I decided to do what I did. I could not say anything and only put my head down in shame because I don't know either. He just stood up and told me to sign the paper and move to court for the proceedings. I did not have a choice than to do that, and we moved to court immediately, which was some days ago. I am not going to get a penny from him, and I was also denied custody of my children. I broke down in tears after I was told this, but nobody was on my side, so I cried alone. When I was going, William's mom and Claire expressed their disappointment at my behavior. They also told me not to dream of even coming next to my kids. I could not take that much shame and just left there crying while they were laughing and playing with the twins. I had no place to go, so I had to sleep at the women's shelter and think of working menial jobs to get money to feed with. I am here sulking. I believe William would be okay and would do well without me. My life is miserable and less fun, while his life is going great, but this is all my fault. I would advise that no one tries to behave the same way I did with William. Otherwise, the outcome might be too much to handle. Take me, for example. I'm divorced, with a broken nail, without my children or permission to see them and staying at a shelter. I wish I hadn't done what I did now, but it was too late and now I have to face the consequences. So please learn from me and be satisfied with your marriage.